Hey guys, it's Zach with US Fitness Products, and today we're going to assemble the Roc-It Leg Press attachment for the V4 V-Elite home gym. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to install today is going to be the arm for your actual plate for your leg press. So this is pretty easy to install. All you need to do. So a lot of my bolts are already going to be in place. I'm just going to go ahead and show you how we attach these things. So first thing you're gonna do is get this into this slot right here. Sometimes it can be a little difficult. Just start at the bottom, slide your way up. Just like so. If you got another set of hands, it wouldn't hurt. And we'll just get it lined up. Get that bolt in there. And that's that. So now that we have this attached, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a standard 3.5-inch pulley. And this is a locking mechanism that we use to attach the cable to this press arm. And you just do that by taking your jam nut. You're going to want to put these threads towards the bottom of the nut. This would be the bottom of the nut down here. These threads you're going to want to have on like this. And this is going to secure this to this locking mechanism right here. We'll take this and cinch it down. We'll just do hand tight for now. You're gonna need a 19mm wrench later to cinch that down. And this is where we place it. We take this press arm, push it all the way out, and you'll see there's a little hole right here. We take our attachment, we thread through, and that's it. You put your washer and your nut on. You can keep your hands on it. There we go. And then we will add our first pulley, which goes right here. So we just put our cable inside of the pulley, press the pulley down, bolt through, washer and nut on the other side. All right, on to the next step. The next piece I need you to grab is a piece that's shaped just like this. I'm not sure exactly what to call it, so just look for this guy. And in preparation for the next piece, I'm just going ahead and removing that bolt. Yours will still be in the bolt pack. So the next thing we're going to install is the main frame. That will be this piece right here. So we're going to first attach it to that press arm that we installed. And you're going to aim for this hole right here. So we'll just get it lined up. And I have my bolt staged already. So, like I said, we just line up the holes. Might take you a couple tries. It's gonna take me a couple tries. There you go. And just like everything else, it's washer than nut. Washer than a nut. So now that you have the main frame attached to the press leg, the next thing we're going to do is attach it to this shape that I have yet to name. So we're gonna go ahead and close up the machine, just so you can access this a little easier. And you're probably going to have to do some kind of combination of a lift. What I usually do is I will hold it with my knee in between the back of the frame, and then I'll just lift this up into it, drop it down until the hole lines up. Make sure you watch your fingers. This is an easy pinch point. You could actually crush your fingers. Just be careful. And there you have it. That's now attached. We'll go ahead and move on to the next part. So the next thing we're going to install is the handholds. This is what you hold on to when you're pressing. As you can see, I already have my bolts in place, so I'll just have to remove these really quick. And the way we attach this is we just go underneath the machine, just like so. You may have to lift it to get it into that final position. And we just want to go ahead and line up our holes. Usually what I'll do is I'll go ahead and do the very bottom one, the very top one. And now you don't have to hold it in place to put on the other two. And you just take all your washers and nuts, attach those. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that you just leave everything loose until you're done. You want to make sure that this machine has some kind of wiggle room in case the manufacturer hasn't lined things up absolutely perfect. Sometimes They get really close to perfection, but you might have to move some stuff to make it perfect. All right, we're all set there. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to route our cable. So we already have that first pulley in place. Next one we're gonna grab is a 3.5 inch wide pulley. It's not 3.5 inches wide, it's 3.5 inches in circumference. It's just wider than your standard pulley. And this pulley is going to go, this is where things get a little interesting. So when installing this, you want to make sure you are cognizant of this cable guard. So the way we need to route this, and it'll show you this in the instructions, it may not be as clear as actually seeing it, but you're going to route it through just like this. Then you take your pulley, put that on just like so. This bolt is going to need these spacers on either side. I think these are the only spacers that they provide, so we shouldn't have to narrow it down for you. You should be able to just locate those. When you're using spacers, you don't have to worry about washers. So we go ahead and we got that attached now. We can go ahead and cinch this back down. When you're doing this, just make sure that you stay on pulley because you're gonna have to line them up later anyway. So now comes the task that can be a little daunting. I would suggest, if you can, find yourself, we call this a fish wire here. You're gonna wanna find yourself something that has some kind of tensile strength to it and the ability to hold shape. This is basically just a gigantic bread twist tie. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take that, and we need to go through the frame. So we're gonna push this through the frame, and you'll see there's an opening on this side. So you're gonna wanna feed it in until you see it down at that other end. So it's a little easier if we go through this way, because you can keep it kind of flat. And you just wanna keep your eyes open for it coming through on the other side. Let's go ahead and push this up so we have it out of our way. And I can see it in there. Now it's just the task of getting it. Like I said, this can be a little difficult at times. Just stick with it. I'm sure you'll get it eventually. But this is kind of crucial to the assembly of this machine. If we aren't able to run this cable through the frame, we are not going to be able to use it. All right, there we go. And the main reason that we use this is, well, it's because of this bolt right here. There's no locking mechanism for this bolt, and there's no way to actually take this bolt off of this cable. So we need to use this fish wire as a way to lock this bolt in place so that we can fish it through the frame. So what I'll do is I'll wrap behind it just like so a few times so that now it won't slide back as easily when I'm pulling it that direction. There's no tension on it right now, so I can just slide it up and down. But since the tension is going to be on it that direction, it'll keep that bolt from sliding. We'll go ahead and place it in, guide it with your left hand as you pull it with your right. And you just want to make sure you come right through. And there you have it. So that wire is fished through. Next thing we will do is we'll grab another standard 3.5 inch pulley. We'll press the cable down into place. Put your bolt through, washer and nut, leave it loose. There you have it. So, next part of this is now we need to do the same with this. We need to be able to fish this wire all the way through this guy. So I have it detached right now. Usually you can have it attached. I just figured this would be an easier way to show you how we can push this wire through. And to be fair, if you do it like this before you actually install it, it may be considerably easier. Usually I'll have it installed when I do this, but this does make it a lot easier. So make sure you have all the slack necessary. Go ahead and close this up because you're missing probably about a foot and a half of cable. We'll go ahead and pull this all the way through. There you have it. So now that we have this all the way through, we're gonna go ahead and attach this arm to the body. While doing that, in order to access those bolts, you're gonna go ahead and have to open this guy back up. Just keep an eye on your cable. It may go back into the frame, not a big deal as long as you have that fish wire on there, all right? So there's 4 bolts that are gonna hold this arm onto the main frame. You have 3 little shorties here, 1 long guy. We'll go ahead and put these in place. This is gonna be one of the few instances where I say go ahead and tighten it down as soon as you get them in place. Because once this machine is fully built, they get a little bit more difficult to get to. So we'll go ahead and start them by hand, as you should all bolts, just to make sure you don't cross thread. All right, and that arm is installed. Now, once you have that arm installed, we literally only have 2 more pulleys that are necessary to install. They're both gonna be your standard 3.5-inch pulleys. You'll see one of these doesn't have a washer and a nut and actually has a lock washer on it. That's gonna be the pulley that you install onto the frame. It already has a built-in built-in nut on the other side. So we'll just get that started with our fingers. Then go ahead and grab your drill. If you have one, you can use hand tools as well. So everything on this machine is going to be 14 millimeter or 19 millimeter. That's 9/16 or 3/4 if you're using standard. All of these bolts are going to be 14 millimeter or 9/16. We'll go ahead and tighten everything down. Ooh, all right. So that one I may have to hit with my hand tool just because I can't get my drill in there. So if you're having any issues reaching that last bolt there, I would suggest just grabbing yourself a hand ratchet. It's going to be a 14 millimeter bolt. Go ahead and get it tight enough. There we go, that we can actually get the wrench to do the work. And that's it, we're nice and tight there. We'll go ahead and sit this machine down properly. So we want to feed our cable back out this way. Make sure everything stays on pulley. Set it down. You're going to take your last pulley and install it down here. Same way we do all of them. Just go ahead and put the cable inside of the pulley, push it down into place, bolt through, washer and nut, leave it loose. All right, so next part we're going to attach is going to be this arm piece right here. First we're going to attach this to the frame. You'll see there's some cushion bearings here. Just be careful when you're taking this stuff out of the box. Sometimes those cushion bearings can pop out and you do not want to lose these. So just keep an eye on where those are at. This is when you start getting into your 19 millimeter, aka 3/4. We'll go ahead and put this piece right where she goes, right here. Just like that. And then the next thing we're going to attach is the foot plate. That's this guy right here. Just get these bolts out the way. Yours will still be in your bolt pack, numbered. And the way I usually attach this is I will attach it to the stationary piece first. So granted, this piece does move, but it doesn't move quite as much as that other side. We'll go ahead and slide it into place. And feed our bolt through. Come on. There we have it. And go ahead and put your washer and nut on here because we still have the other back side to attach. And we don't want this thing to fly off. It's got a little bit of weight to it, so you could hurt yourself. Just be safe and secure. There you have it, there's your foot plate attached. All right, next we're going to attach the arm that actually attaches this to your machine. So this only takes 3 bolts. One is going to use a star washer or lock washer and a standard washer. And we'll just go ahead and get that one started. Just make sure you do this by hand first. You want to make sure you can feel that bolt. If there's any additional resistance, you may be cross-threading. And if you're cross-threading, go ahead and back out and try again. All right. And at this point, you're going to want to go ahead and tighten everything down. So The vast majority of this stuff is going to be a 14 millimeter or 9/16. So we'll go ahead and start with that. Go ahead and take your 14 millimeter 9/16 bit, attach it to your drill, and just start from the back. Tighten everything down. 19 millimeter or 3/4. All of those, since they're on moving bearings, you're likely going to want to start it with an impact, but then finish it with hand tools, because you need to find the sweet spot where it's tight enough that it doesn't sway side to side, but loose enough that it moves freely. So now we're going to lock down all your 19 millimeter or 3/4 bolts. I would start with a drill and a wrench, and you're just going to get that. You can kind of see there's a little gap between the piece and the frame. Just leave yourself a small gap, and then we will go back and we'll tighten it by hand. So now that I have all our 19 millimeter or 3/4 bolts started, we're going to go back through with a hand wrench and a standard wrench. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate, if you come over here, you can see foot pad should not rock side to side. That one isn't, but you will see that down here on the bottom, we got a little bit of rock. So we just need to grab our wrench and just tighten that up a little bit. There we go. Same with this guy. There we have it. A little bit more. If you still hear that little rocking noise. There we go. And that's it. We just go back through all the bolts and we do the same thing. If there's any kind of rocking sensation, we're going to want to tighten it enough that it's not rocking, but not so tight that moving it becomes difficult. You should be able to just push this open with a hand. Couple fingers, that's it. All right, next thing we're going to do is assemble the seat. So easiest way I found to do this is just grab your seat back first. And you'll see it's wide on one end, narrow on the other end. This is going to be your top end. You want your numbers to face the top. So we just go ahead and line it up. This is a good instance to use a level. Luckily for me, I don't have to, since this is a previously installed piece. There's actually an outline as to where this sat, so I can just follow that outline. But if you want to get it perfect, go ahead and grab yourself a little level and level it out. These bolts are going to be 13 millimeter. That's also 1/2 inch if you're using standard. Now we have our seat back all set to go. And to install it, we just make sure that these plastic guards are on either side of it. Just slide it in place, grab this pin, pull it out, push it in. That's it, that is in place. There's also a locking bolt that's down here on the bottom. It's a little square bolt. You can literally just tighten it by hand. Get that cinched down, and that will keep your seat back from coming all the way out. Now we're going to attach this seat pad. Super easy to do. I usually look for this seam right here. I'll take that seam and I will put it towards the back of the machine. It's really more of an aesthetic thing. I don't necessarily think it matters which way it's facing. I just always thought that it looked better to have the seam in the back instead of the front. And when you're attaching this, go ahead and start it with your fingers. These bolts, unfortunately, are very easy to cross thread. And cross threading these can be quite the issue, because they have these little inserts in them in the wood. And once it's cross thread, you can have enough torque on there to literally just rip that insert right out. Now once you have them all set in by hand, go ahead and grab your impact, use a 13 millimeter or a 1/2 inch, and just go ahead and drive them in. So now that we have this fully assembled, we're going to go ahead and attach it to your V-Elite base. There's a couple of steps we need to take before we can actually attach it. So if you come with me, I can show you what we need to do. So when this is set up standard for your regular base model, this pulley right here is attached directly to a 19 millimeter bolt. What we want to do is we want to detach it from that bolt, and we're going to have to flip it the other direction. Remove this bolt, which has this guard. Right, so you take that, take this guard. I would also suggest go ahead and take your weight stack, pull the cable a little bit, raise it up, just to give yourself a little bit of slack. It'll be a little easier to operate over here. And then what we're gonna do is, originally we had it like this. We want to turn it the other direction so that these threads are facing downward. So we'll put the pulley in like so. We will put the guard on like this. Then we'll put this guard on like that. And we just go ahead and get our bolt through. Sometimes this can be a little bit of a hassle if you don't have large hands. And there we have it. Now we're bolted in here. You'll also find in your bolt pack a small plastic rectangle. We're basically going to use that as a cushion block. So it'll be this guy right here. And it'll go right into that 19mm bolt that you just took this pulley out of. And then you'll see this will act as a place for this pulley to bump into. Take your 14mm bit. When you're tightening this down, you want to make sure that guard stays at 12 o'clock. Sometimes it'll catch and start moving it out of place. Just hold it with your hand while you tighten it. There we go, we're in place. So next we're going to take the entire leg press and we're going to move it over. So sometimes having two people to do this can be helpful. I am by myself, other than our wonderful cameraman. So you just grab it, slide it over into place. That's really it. Go ahead and get it lined up. If you happen to push these bolts out of place, that's fine. You might get lucky enough to where you get it lined up like that. That was actually perfect. That doesn't usually happen for me. So this is where things can get a little interesting. If you're just a couple inches away from the base there, you're gonna have to push it into the base to get these bolts to line up correctly. Otherwise, it's gonna be a lot of effort with no outcome. You're gonna take your jam nut, it's this guy right here, and to sink it into this pulley, just like this. Take this guy, lock it down. You're gonna grab a 19mm or a 3/4 wrench, and you're gonna cinch that down nice and tight. And then we just pop our weight stack out. Now we have a fully functional leg press. Once you get everything installed, just come on over to the leg press, put a minimal amount of weight on there that you can work with easily, and just make sure it's operating smoothly. You shouldn't have any scraping or scratching or any kind of like added resistance. If you do, just check on down the line, you'll find it. Go ahead and correct it, and you should be good to go. And that's how you assemble and attach the Hoist Roc-It Leg Press to a V-Elite V4 base.